Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing tonight? Welcome today, rather. Today is Friday, 12:30 to 1, the KBCR TV show and podcast, and that's why we are here today. We are super excited for you to be here. Woo! Yes. So come on in the room. Come on in the room and get into this message today. So if this is your first time watching, my name is KB.MichelleGreen. That is my brand name, and you can find me pretty much everywhere on social media. So make sure that you are locking into social media. You're getting into our messages, our podcast. We have a podcast, we have a TV show. Listen, we have courses, we have all sorts of things that are made available to you about credit and finances. We even have a credit repair company, and that's who we are sponsored by, Kingdom Builders Credit Repair. That's right. So we are here today so that we can go ahead and talk to you about credit and financial tips. And today's topic is the topic of finishing what you started. What is the power of completion? What is the power of completion to you? So I was just thinking about that this morning, and I was just like, okay, this is something that I really need to discuss with the world. So that's what we are going to talk about today, the power of completion. What it looks like when we finish what we started. Okay, what does it look like when we finish what we started? But before we get into that, I just want to give you a couple of housekeeping rules at KBCR. What we do here is we want you to know we are powered by CTR Media Network. CTR Media Network is a streaming service. It is a whole company that streams KBCR all throughout the earth. This organization has over 3.6 billion viewers. That's right, people from all over the world. So if you have a business or if you as an individual just are trying to get your message out to the world, you want to go over to www.ctrmedia.network.com and get connected with them so that you can get into their network and stream through over 175 countries is what we have been updated to learn about CCR Media. That's right, we went from 140 countries to now over 175 countries. That's right, in the world. We ain't talking about just a neighborhood. We're not talking about the state. We're not even talking about just the United States of America. We are talking about over 175 countries in this earth. That's how CTR Media streams their network of podcasters, of content creators, of influencers, of people who have TV shows, just like us here at KBCR, the TV show and podcast. So we are thankful that you are here. Thank you for watching us. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and that you share. And we also would love to hear from you in the comments below while you are watching so that we can engage with you in your comments in the comment section. So make sure that you are putting down your questions below. Make sure that you are letting us know exactly what it is that you have a concern about, a question about, or even just a feedback, a piece of feedback that would let us know that what you are learning is just mind blowing. It's just blowing your mind, like bombs are going off all over your mind. So we want to make sure that you are learning and growing always, because that is the end goal of KBCR. So speaking of our topic of finishing what we started, let's think about the topic of what I was talking about earlier. Is that this morning I was just sitting there and I was thinking, I'm talking to God, and I was thinking, like, let's look at all of the things that I personally have started that maybe have not been finished yet. And let's look at, of course, the end of our lives when we think about finishing something that we started, what we want to do first in order for us to get back in alignment with the things that we have actually began to do. And especially when we're in that middle section where we're in a rut where we can't really get out of when it pertains to our credit and finances and when it pertains to our life. what we have to begin to do is go back to the end goal. What was the thing that we wanted to complete? What was the thing that we wanted to finish? So, as it relates to our credit and our finances, what is the thing that you originally set out to do when it pertained to you going to obtain credit? When you decided that you wanted to get a new car, when you decided that you wanted to get a house, when you decided that you wanted to obtain a certain type of credit card, when you decided that you wanted to get a loan of a certain amount, what was the finished product goal that you had in mind? What was the thing that you were thinking about that at the end of the whole equation of you obtaining this type of credit that you would actually receive? Well, we all know that, as I explained every single week at KBCR, what credit is your ability when you don't have enough money that you earn to be able to borrow the money from a financial institution, a bank or creditor, a lender of some sort that's going to allow you to be able to obtain more money. And in exchange for the money that you borrow, guess what's happening? In exchange for the money that you're borrowing, you're going to be able to go in and you're going to pay in installments back over a period of time. And if you can prove that you can pay them back, and you can pay every single person back that you borrow money from with interest, then guess what? You will have a good credit reputation. You will have a great credibility for lenders and creditors to continue to give you credit, to continue to give you money. So, what we have to understand is that when we first start out thinking about, okay, well, I got this amount of money that I earned from my job. So, that is your entryway place of knowing that, hey, I do have the ability to get more than what I have, but do we have the mindset to finish what we started? So we don't want to have the mindset that we're just going to go into the equation of credit to think about, we're just going to obtain a car. We're going to obtain a house. We're going to obtain that American Express, that Citibank credit card, or whatever department store that we love to shop at. Maybe we are going to JC Penney's, we're going to Macy's, we're going to Nordstrom. We're getting credit cards and we're getting credit from every single company that wants to lend us money. So, when it comes to our initial idea, are we really thinking about finishing what we start? So, as I thought about this morning, I was like, you know what? I really need to go back and analyze all of the initial ideas that I had around my life. So, what are the things that I wanted to achieve? One of the things that I wanted to achieve is getting this message out to you, the public. I'm talking about people all over the world. And that has been achieved. And so this is what got me here today, because I was thinking about, maybe we'll just put on a recording. Maybe we'll just go ahead and place this information that we already talked about to the viewers. But then I was like, well, what did I start this for in the first place? I started this because I thought more than just of myself and of my family and of those that I'm close to and those that are already in our credit repair program. I thought more about the people that are all over the world that don't know about credit and don't know how to handle their finances. And that is the reason why I initially started KBCR TV show and podcast. And what you need to know is that the power of completing something that you started, you have to understand that it is always going to be a small stage or a short term finishing. There's always going to be a middle stage finishing product, and there's always going to be a long term finishing product. So, as it relates to our credit, as it relates to our finances, and even to our actual life, we got to understand that we're going to have short term, we're going to have long term, and we're going to have the one that's in the middle. It's going to be a mid range of a way to get finished with the product. So, as we are learning about the power of completion, I want you to think about all of the credit and all of the items that you wanted to achieve, even if it's something such as you wanted to achieve getting a particular job. And now that you have that job and you're smack dab in the middle of working that job and earning a living and making more money than you used to make, have you really considered what your finished product of being on that job is? Or even if you are a business owner, have you considered the end goal of being a business owner or working a job? And what does it look like to complete the task, to complete the goal that you set out, that you wanted so bad in order for you to achieve? How does it look when you actually begin to go back again and think about what is it that you wanted to finish? What is the finished product? What does it look like? What is it that you feel like you'll be able to do? And have you been able to do those things yet? Okay. So as I began to think about that this morning, I was like, you know what? There are so many things that still need to be talked about. There are so many things that people need to understand and know. When we grow up as children in the world, what we tend to do is we grow up as a young person, becoming a teenager, going into adulthood in our early 20s, and we have these patterns. We have these systems that are in place to keep us locked into a pattern that we cannot break out of. And I say we can't break out of it, but in actuality, we can break out of it. So I want us to begin to think about what were those dreams and goals that you had initially. And if you are working a job and making the kind of money that you wanted to make, and even desiring to go even further and make more money, and to have more credibility, to be able to obtain a better car, to be able to obtain a bigger house or a better house, or to remodel your house and get it fixed up the way you want it to be fixed up. If you want to get multiple houses, if you want to become a business owner, what are the things that you initially set out to do? And let's begin to think about how you can rearrange those dreams. See, the thing is that when we're in the middle of anything, when we're in the middle of paying down our debts, when we are in the middle of rearranging our finances so that we can actually better learn how to manage the money that we have, when we're in the middle of deciding whether we're going to go through a budget or whether we're going to continue to live the way we've been living, and we're struggling from paycheck to paycheck, when we're in the middle, we tend to forget about the finished product. We forget about the thing that was most important to us from the start. So we have to go back to this mindset of what was the dream, and has the dream changed? Is it something about the dream that you want to change about how it first started out? So I want us to really just stop for a moment today and just begin to think about how much power will be in the completed product. How much power resides in you paying off your debt? How much power resides in you being able to complete the job, the time that you want to stay on the job, or even retiring from the job? What is the power of you completing the task? What is the power of you completing, making sure that you get the budget completed, making sure that you create a budget and that you follow through with the budget, even if you fall off track, even if you have gotten to a place where you're just feeling like you're stagnant and you don't really want to move forward with keeping up with how much the groceries are, how much you're eating out, when you decide that you don't want to keep up with the birthday parties, you just want to spend money, when you are feeling like it's getting warm outside and we just want to go out and play, we just want to go out and go to the beach and relax and have a vacation. When we are in the middle of the process, we have to understand that there is so much power in us getting back focused on the actual product that we initially decided that we were going to set out to do, and finishing that. There is so much power in the completion of it. It's so much power power in the completion of the finished product. So when we think about it, let's look at our credit, for example. So we are looking at, you bought this vehicle. This vehicle has carried you through how many years, how many months, how many weeks, how many days have you depended on this line of credit that you decided that when you absolutely needed this vehicle, or even if you wanted the vehicle and you were able to get approved for the vehicle, how committed were you at the initial stage of getting what you wanted? How committed were you to making sure that you would do whatever you could to make sure that that payment was made? How committed were you in saying that even if you are sick and even if you are tired, even if you have challenges in your relationship, even if you have challenges in the workplace, even if you have to switch jobs, even if you have to take a second job, even if you have to expand and increase your business, that you were going to commit to making sure that you took care of that car note? Completing it to its end will give you power. Let's talk about the power that it actually will give you. Do you realize that when we decide that we are going to pay off our debts, when we decide that we are actually going to go into paying our debts, our vehicle loan, our auto loan, when we decide that we are going to start it, we are going to continue making those payments, and we're going to finish making those payments, then what happens is that by the end of the loan, when it shows proof that we have completed that whole task, that there will be power in the completion for you opening up the doors so that you can expand and increase to a higher level vehicle. That means that the banks and the credit unions, when they see that you have completed paying that car off, paying that truck off, paying that van off, paying that SUV off, when they look and see that you have completed the task, then it gives you power that you didn't have before. The power is in you completing the task. So complete the debt that you said that you would borrow, that you would pay back every single month with whatever the monthly payment is. I know the payment might be tiring. You might be feeling like, you just want to tap out. You just want to jump out of that whole borrowing ordeal. You're tired of working. You're tired of doing what it is that you do. And you just want to just get a break. But let me just explain to you, if you would just go back to that beginning stage and remember how it felt when you first obtained what it is that you wanted to obtain, when you had that goal in your mind about, hey, I can get this vehicle, and you finally got approved and somebody gave you a chance. Don't you understand that all you got to do is go back and dream again about that beginning stage and finishing that product out, so that when the finished completion is done, then it opens up even more money for you to borrow. And that more money that you can borrow means what? It means that now you have the opportunity to expand and increase in your level of credibility. It means that now the lenders and the creditors are going to trust you more, because credit is based on a foundation of trust. So if you are dependent upon thinking about like, oh, I just really have a different dream now. I have a different idea about what direction I want my life to go in. Well, you're not just crazy, and you are definitely not someone who can't achieve that. But what we have to understand is we got to go back to understanding the power is in the ability to complete the deal. So if the deal, the terms and conditions that you agreed to was $1,000, was $500, was 1,500 or $2,000 every 30 days, break it down into increments. Break it down into smaller chunks that you can adjust to regardless of what your financial situation is regarding your income. Because, see, this is how you gain more and more power in the industry of credit and finances. You cannot have the power without completing the task. So we got to stop doing this whole mindset, this whole idea around we're just not going to finish. We're going to tap out. We're not going to finish. We're not going to complete what we said we promised these people that we were going to do. And we forget about the initial phase of how exciting and how powerful it even was at the beginning for us to even get approval in the first place. And not to mention, let's talk about our houses. How many of us, when we first got our house, when we first got approved, were we just so elated? We were so excited. We were so grateful. We weren't really thinking about anything else except making sure that we closed the deal, right? But when we closed the deal and we got into that house and we were so grateful, we were thankful, we were telling everybody that we closed on our homes. We were sharing all of this with pictures on social media. We were talking about all of the things that we're going to do with our home. And then the reality began to set in that these mortgage payments have to be paid. Well, we got to go back to the mindset of that initial moment. When we first got that house, what was the outcome? Maybe you had an outcome of finishing this, buying this house because you wanted to leave a legacy for your family. Did you forget about the family? Did something happen in your family, in your household, that caused you to be deterred away from completing the payments on this mortgage? When you bought this house, maybe you were thinking about if you're going to have children down the road, then you would have a place for your kids to grow up in, that they could call home, that they could come back to after they are grown and with kids of their own. Maybe you had grandchildren that you were thinking about. Maybe you had people that were nieces or nephews, or even a neighborhood house that you felt like, okay, you're going to invite all of the kids over to the house and allow everybody to get something to eat because you saw a need that needed to be fulfilled in your community. What is the finished product? What is the thing that you started? The reason why you wanted to get a house in the first place? See, we got to go back to that. We got to go back. Think about all of the details of what you wanted when you first bought that house. Think about all of the details of what you wanted when you first got that business, when you decided to open up the doors for your company. Let's think about all of the goals that you had set. Those things didn't do anything but just go on the shelf. And you got to have the enough inside of you. You got to have enough goals. You got to have enough, that drive, that passion inside of you to go back to the memory of getting that off of the shelf and finishing and completing the project that you set out. See, we all have life that happens, right? Life be life, and it's what they tell me. And I can see clearly after being here for over 50 plus years that yes, life be life. And it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what continent you were born in. It doesn't matter where you live currently. It doesn't even matter where you're going. What matters is that you understand that no matter what happens in life, you're always going to have to go back to that initial stage of the process of whatever it is that you wanted. So let's go back to the dream so that we can refocus in the middle part of our life of paying off our debt and handling and managing our money properly. Let's go back to the idea that we really do want to finish paying off this mortgage, because what's going to happen is that after we are dead and gone, then there's an opportunity for people that are coming behind us to have an opportunity that they never had before. And I know that we live in a very selfish world. Everybody's out to do their own thing. Everybody has all of this selfish ambition. It's all about what I want. It's all about what I need. It's all about the things that I got to get on my credit. It's the things that I got to do to pay back this money. It's all about I. But really, truthfully, when we really think about the world of credit, credit is really about everybody. It's not about just one person. It's about families. It's about neighborhoods and communities. It is about the whole entire nation and the world. Because if all of us had the mindset that we were going to be selfish and only think about ourselves as it relates to our finances, as it relates to our credit, if we never ever thought about anybody else and leaving a legacy or building wealth for our whole entire family tree or our community, our neighborhoods, or our cities, our states, even our nations, or the whole world, then there would be a sad world for us to live in. A very, very sad world. Now, I know that it's hard to get up and go out and work and do the job. I know that it's hard for you to earn a living and to pay those debts down. But I challenge you today to really just go back to what is the real end goal? What is the real product that you want to have completed by the end of you making a purchase, by the end of you getting the credit, by the end of you achieving, paying off that house, paying off that vehicle, paying off those credit cards, paying them down, and then using them properly and keeping them under the 30% mark so that you are not going over and over and over and showing the lenders or creditors that you're not trustworthy. They want to see that you are trustworthy, that you're going to keep your word. And not only them, but there's a whole world out there that's dependent on each and every one of us to do the right thing. So when it comes to us finishing what we started, we got to really hone in on the dreams and the goals that we first set out for. We got to really begin to drive our focus back to what is the completed product that's going to give us the power to elevate, increase, to go from tier to tier, to go from level to level. What is it that we need to change right now in our minds so that we can refocus on the things that we really set out to do? I am challenging you because I myself am challenged. I myself am challenged and dreaming again about the people all over this world whose lives are being changed by KBCR, the lives that are being changed by every business that God has given me the ability to run successfully. I am looking at my own life. And I'm looking at the debts that I've accrued, the things that I have decided that I was going to pay for, the vehicles, the houses, the land, the property, the different businesses, all of the assets that I have. I'm looking at all of the things that I have. What is the end goal for the things when you bought what you bought? What are the end goals of why you're doing what you're doing? To go to that job every day, to go to that business every day, and to do the work, to earn the income, to end up paying for the credit items, to end up paying for the money management of your budget. What is the end goal? It's not just for you to live, it is for you to live abundantly. It is for you to remember what the real focus is, because there is so much power in completing the task. Listen, that's all I have for you today. If you have been inspired, if you have been encouraged to keep going and paying off those debts and getting your money aligned and keeping to that budget, then I want you to put a comment below. I want you to just say that, hey, this helped me. Hey, this was something that inspired me. This is something that refocused my mind so that I can actually finish. And thank you, Michelle. Let's communicate. Let's talk about the things that we are learning here at the KBCR TV show and podcast. And I just want to say to you, thank you again for watching. We are so thankful that you are here, every single one of you. No matter who's watching, where you are, we are grateful for every single person that we are able to impact in this earth. But until next Friday from 12:30 to 1, make sure that you are subscribed so you will not forget, and set those notifications so that you'll get the pop-up every time we go live here at the KBCR TV show and podcast. Thank you again so much for being here, and we'll see you guys next Friday from 12:30 to 1. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon, and bye-bye.